Tyrannosaurus rex had a skull built like a wrecking ball, teeth the size of bananas, and a bite strong enough to crush bone. So why might the most famous land predator in history still not deserve the title of the deadliest? That question matters more than it sounds, because when people picture the ultimate killer, they usually picture raw power. Bigger jaws, bigger body, bigger fear. But evolution does not always reward the loudest monster. Sometimes the deadliest predator is not the one that looks most unstoppable. Sometimes it is the one built to kill more efficiently. And that is where the story of T-Rex gets far more interesting. T-Rex lived at the very end of the Cretaceous, about 68 to 66 million years ago, in western North America on the island continent called Laramidia, in a world of river plains, forested floodplains, and coastal lowlands, not the Ice Age, and not some endless open desert. At first glance, T-Rex seems like the perfect answer to every predator question. It was enormous, heavily built, and armed with one of the strongest bite forces ever estimated for a land animal. Its teeth were not slender slicing blades like a knife set. They were thick, crushing weapons built to punch into flesh and bone and hold on. Its head was massive. Its neck was powerful. Its body was deep and muscular. Even its senses were impressive, with evidence long used to argue that it had strong vision and a very capable sense of smell. Everything about Tyrannosaurus rex screams one thing: apex predator. But here is where the picture starts to shift. Being terrifying is not the same as being the deadliest. T-Rex was built for overwhelming force, yes, but force comes with a price. This animal was huge. That size gave it power, but it also came with limits. It was not built like a slim pursuit hunter. It was not the kind of predator that could dance through thick turns, twist at high speed, or keep up a long chase the way smaller, more agile hunters can. Its body was designed less like a precision dagger and more like a demolition machine. When it arrived, the fight could end fast, but getting into position may have mattered just as much as delivering the final bite. That changes the argument completely, because now the question is no longer, could T-Rex kill? Of course it could. The real question is, was it the most efficient land predator ever built? And to answer that, we have to understand its traits one by one. Start with the skull. T-Rex had a broad, powerful skull designed to handle crushing stress. That made it different from predators that relied more on slashing, repeated bites, or lighter, faster head strikes. Then there were the teeth, thick, serrated, and durable, suited for puncturing deep and even breaking bone. This was not a careful slicer. It was a predator built to do catastrophic damage in a few violent moments. Next came the neck and jaw muscles, turning the head into a brutal killing tool. Then the legs, long and strong enough to move such a giant body, but not evidence of some lightning-fast sprinter chasing everything across the landscape. And then, of course, the famous arms. Small, yes, but incredibly muscular for their size. They were not useless. They were simply not the main event. On T-Rex, almost everything important was concentrated in the head, neck, and body mass. So if T-Rex had the bite, the size, the senses, and the reputation, why question its deadliness at all? Because being the deadliest predator is not just about what happens when the bite lands. It is also about how often you can create that moment, how well you can adapt, how effectively you can corner prey, how much energy you burn, how often your build gives you control instead of just power. In other words, the deadliest predator is not always the strongest one. It may be the one with fewer weaknesses. And that is exactly where Tyrannosaurus rex begins to lose its easy crown. Because once we stop being impressed by size alone, we have to look at something much more important: how it actually hunted, what kind of world it hunted in, and whether raw force was enough to make it the most dangerous land killer of all. To understand why Tyrannosaurus rex may not have been the deadliest land predator, we have to stop looking at it like a movie monster and start looking at it like a real animal. Because real predators do not survive on reputation, they survive on results. And in the world of T-Rex, results depended on far more than having the biggest jaws in the neighborhood. Tyrannosaurus rex lived in a dangerous late Cretaceous world of forests, floodplains, river channels, and open stretches of lowland where giant herbivores moved through the landscape in search of food. This was not a simple arena where one giant predator ruled everything without resistance. It was a living ecosystem, packed with risk, movement, and competition. T-Rex likely targeted large prey such as Triceratops and Edmontosaurus, animals that were not weak, not helpless, and definitely not easy to kill. A full-grown Triceratops was a walking tank with horns on its face and a body built for impact. Edmontosaurus may not have had horns, but it was large, strong, and more than capable of fighting back with its sheer mass. So every attack carried danger. And that is where the first crack appears in the legend. T-Rex was built for devastating power, not graceful control. Its greatest trait was its bite. That bite could crush bone, tear deep into flesh, and inflict catastrophic injuries in seconds. But power like that works best when the predator can get close, line up the attack, and land it cleanly. That means position mattered, timing mattered, the environment mattered. And for an animal this large, flexibility may have mattered more than people realize. A smaller or more agile predator can recover faster from mistakes. It can turn quicker, it can adjust its approach, it can spend less energy setting up an attack. T-Rex, by contrast, was like a living battering ram. In the right moment, it was terrifying. In the wrong moment, its own size could become a limitation. It was not the kind of hunter built for endless pursuit or rapid direction changes. It was a predator that needed the world to work with its strengths. That does not make T-Rex weak, it makes it specialized. And specialists are powerful, but they are not always the deadliest overall. Because what does deadliest really mean? Is it the predator with the strongest weapon, or the one that can kill most efficiently across more situations? That is where other land predators begin to look different. Some were smaller but faster. Some were lighter but more adaptable. Some may not have had the crushing bite of T-Rex, but they may have been better built for repeated success across different prey, different terrain, or different attack conditions. T-Rex was almost certainly one of the most dangerous predators that ever lived. But danger is not always the same as efficiency. A crocodile is dangerous, a lion is dangerous, a wolf pack is dangerous, but each one kills in a different way. Some rely on ambush, some rely on teamwork, some rely on endurance, some rely on precision. Tyrannosaurus Rex relied on force so overwhelming that once it worked, very little could survive it. But that kind of predator is not automatically the most versatile. And if deadliness includes consistency, control, adaptability, and the ability to turn opportunity into a kill again and again, then the title becomes harder to hand over so easily. That is what makes T-Rex so fascinating. Not that it was unstoppable, but that it was so brutally good at one style of predation. It was not a perfect universal killer. It was a giant specialist shaped by its world, its prey, and its own terrifying design. In the right place against the right target, it was a nightmare with teeth. But the deadliest land predator is not always the largest or the most famous. Sometimes it is the one with the fewest limits. And maybe that is the real reason Tyrannosaurus Rex still holds our attention. Not because it answers every question about power, but because it forces us to ask a better one. In nature, what truly makes a killer the deadliest of all?